Welcome to the Homeschool Together podcast. Where one working mom and a stay-at-home dad help you navigate the nuts and bolts of the growing and dynamic world of homeschooling.
With a focus on early learners, like me.
All the ins and outs of building and maintaining your homeschool life.
Homeschool.
Find out tips and tricks to make things like this easier.
I'm reading.
And ultimately, enjoy educating your kids. And what's that last thing?
Have fun together. Did I do good, Daddy?
Yeah, you did, sweetie. Good job. Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together. Thanks so much for joining us on this short bite edition. Today we're going to be talking about Some Swamp, brought to us by...
Not Game Right.
Not Game Right. Oh my God.
Yeah, we love all the Game Right games,
Yeah.
but this one's not. This is brought to us by Learning Resources.
Yeah, it's a really cool game. So basically the premise of the game is you're in a swamp and you got to get through. And the only way to get through the swamp and avoid crocodiles and evil birds and fish and everything and turtles. The turtle's looking at me shifty-eyed. Look at that. The only way to get through it, math.
Right. Yeah, a little bit of addition and subtraction. It's a really great game. It's funny, we talked on last week's episode about like essential games. This is, I would say, is an essential kindergarten game.
Like a kindergarten math,
first grade.
Yeah, math game, early math game. I don't know if we've encountered a game that does like just explicit addition and subtraction at this level. Right. Super 1 to 6, adding and subtracting. I thought it was a really great game.
Yeah, so it's 3 dice. 2 dice have numbers. 1 has pluses and minuses. So you roll it, you make an equation, and then you're going to be moving through.
And you always pick the higher number first, so you don't run into any negative number issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. And so you're kind of using the sum of that or the product, the difference to move forward or backwards on the board. There's a few special spaces. If you land on an even, it says even or it says odd, then you would roll a die, and if you match that, you get to move ahead or not. There's ones that have specific numbers on them, and then you'll roll an operator. So it's like if you land on a 6 and you roll it, and you get a plus, you go ahead 6, minus, you go back 6. And there's a loop you'll have to get into at the end.
The endless loop.
The endless loop. That's what it's called. And you'll go kind of around and around until you get to the right exit space, and then you can go out. So it's really great because
it reminds me a lot of like Unicorn Glitter Luck, Candylandy, those type of games where you're kind of moving around a set path. Right.
It's totally a set path. But this one has got the addition and subtraction element, which is so great. Yeah. And it only goes up to 6, which I really appreciate, right? Yeah, you're not having anything that goes above 12.
It's basically, for better or worse, stuff you can almost do with all your fingers. That's really nice. I made a little number line just to help our learner kind of move along. So
she's just starting addition.
She's just starting addition, just starting to do kind of number line visualization, that type of stuff. So if you have a learner who's just into this point, this is a great game for that. It was fun. They have these little characters that are...
Yeah, the little bugs. There's like a dragonfly and a snail and a frog, and they're super cute. The one thing I would say, there's no decision making to be done in this game. There's no point where you get to decide to take the value or not take it. I think that you could definitely ratchet up the difficulty by coming up with a mechanism to make a decision. But right now it's just, you roll and you have to do the math operations so that you can move forward.
And if you get into negative numbers, you can absolutely, flip the numbers around in the equation and actually get negative numbers and actually go backwards. Because I think in the base version, you don't go backwards.
Yeah, you can never go backwards.
You can only go forward, but maybe not as much, especially if you have a subtraction like 3 minus 2 and you only get to go forward 1 spot. Or a number of times we had 3 minus 3 and you couldn't move anywhere.
Right.
So if you want to ratchet up the difficulty, you could set a rule, dice to the furthest left is the first number, and then that type of thing. So definitely you can have some tweaks there, especially if you have a little bit of an older learner, maybe 2nd, 3rd grade type of thing. So definitely a nice little wrinkle there that you can add in as well. But it did feel like you lose a little bit of the fun of the game because it is really just a bunch of equations, and I think the learner at our level might have kind of started to lose interest towards the end because it was really just her cranking through equations, and she lost connection with kind of the theme. So make sure you keep that in. You can do little tweaks, maybe have some fun with it. Maybe you have to do frog hops if you're...
Yeah, this is definitely a game that's more on the educational side of the house than on the fun with totally hidden education. The education part's not hidden here. I did really like though that you get a plus minus die, because we were like, ooh, math manipulative. We can do all kinds of fun stuff with a plus minus die and make our own boards and different things. For the cost of this game, which was very low, I think it's like $12 or $13, really affordable.
The board's really nice. The graphics are really nice.
As a math manipulative that is pretty fun, I would say this is an essential math game for this age, even though it is more overt in its educational value than some of the games, right? You know, we talk about playing a game like Catan Jr. or Ticket to Ride First Journey. There's bits of math and things hidden in there. It's very, very well hidden.
It's always hidden under the theme.
But I think for a student who's going to see these equations appear in her math workbook and need to understand what the equation looks like and see it and not be afraid of it and be comfortable using it, I kind of want the overt math, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't want them to hide the addition and subtraction, because I want her to be comfortable seeing what it would look like.
Yeah, we're about 5-6 weeks into equations, and she's getting more comfortable with this. I think we played this
we played this a few times.
Yeah, and you know, it was maybe a week or so ago when we played this, and you know, she's gotten more comfortable with equations. So it's definitely something, as it grows, I think she'll get better. Another wrinkle you can add in is you can add in a speed element if you have like a timer or something of that nature. You can only play the game in 2 minutes. You go as far as you can. Either you win or the furthest person. So you can add in that kind of like speed and urgency. So you can definitely ratchet up the tension.
I've got a 1 to 100 sheet that I printed. It was just a free printable online. And what I'd like to do with this, now that we have these die, is have her roll and, you know, with a laminated sheet of this, get up to 100. Like you're going to go forward, but by how much? And that, you know, I think that would be a really fun exercise for her to do, where she could just do lots of equations. You know, there's limits to this since it only goes up to 6 on each die, but I think that it's still really a valuable game.
I'm sorry, did you say pull out the Dungeons and Dragons 20-sided die?
I think it's really valuable. We can pull out our Mathery dice.
All the people who are in the game school and co-op are like, Ariel, 20-sided die. We can solve this.
Well, we have Mathery, and so we already have lots of options for that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think for this age and for where we're at, I think that this is going to get a lot of play value for the next couple of years. And then we'll move on past it. But I think for the time period, it's really valuable.
Well, and then when her sister starts to begin to do equations and stuff when she's 5 and 6 years old, you know, she's going to be, you know, 9, 10, and so therefore she can play with her sister. You know, she'll be a lot better at it, but she can also help and play with her. So I have a feeling this game is going to be around for a long time. We're going to see it come out a lot. We're going to use it a lot. So definitely, like, you know, $12. It's not,
right. When you consider the math manipulative part of this and how much it's going to help her in her math curriculum, it's, for me, a no-brainer. If you have a learner who's already really comfortable with this, you might want to check out, I think it used to be called Mole Rats in Space. It's now Space Escape, but it goes up to 10, I believe. It's the same concept, but it's just a different theme. So, but if you've got a young learner, I think that this is a really important get for the more educational side of our games. All games are educational, but this one's just a bit more in line with the curriculum, a bit more open about it.
Yeah, overt. So go ahead and hop on down in the show notes. You'll see links to SumSwap, and we recommend you getting it.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time,
happy homeschooling!